This is a reverse drive. It's a drive which looks like you're going to play it cross-court, but at the last moment you play it straight.
When done well, it can catch your opponents completely off guard, and it's so satisfying to play. So in this video, we're going to teach you the 3 steps for how to do it well in both singles and doubles, and also give you some tactical tips of when to use it in a match.
Step 1 is the footwork. You start by doing a split step and then move forwards into the shuttle at around a 45-degree angle like this. You can either step into the shot or jump into it.
Now, before we move on any further, you shouldn't try this shot when you're moving directly out to the side. This is because you're unlikely to play a cross-court drive from this position, which means the reverse isn't going to be anywhere near as deceptive.
You also shouldn't play it if you're moving directly forwards, because you don't have the room to swing and you'll get too tucked up, meaning you can't play this shot well.
Yeah, and that brings us nicely onto the second step, which is the cross-drive preparation.
Okay, so as we mentioned at the beginning of this video, the reverse drive is deceptive because it looks like a normal cross-court drive. So, for this to work, you need to make it look the same. That means you should be in a loose forehand grip and bring your elbow back a little bit whilst also slightly bending your wrist back.
Like with normal drives, you can either have a shorter backswing, or if the shuttle is higher and you have more time, you can have a bigger backswing.
Only from this point here does it no longer look like a cross-court drive. And this brings us on to the third step, the reverse hitting action. It's the most difficult part of the technique, so listen carefully.
So, you're in this position after the cross-drive preparation. Now, let's compare your hand and racket positioning for a normal drive versus a reverse drive. For a normal cross-court drive, your hand would continue moving forwards like this until your wrist is flat.
Whereas for the reverse drive, your hand does this waving motion, and your racket shaft goes from a 45-degree angle like this to a 45-degree angle the other way. This side-to-side motion is what enables you to slice the shuttle and hit it straight, ideally to the tram line.
Yeah, but where a lot of people go wrong, similar to the overhead reverse slice, is not keeping some forwards momentum. You can't just go sideways. And it's important to mention that by slicing the shuttle, you'll reduce the pace on your drive. But that's okay. It's the deception that makes this a really effective shot.
After striking the shuttle, you need to keep following through, bringing your hand down and across your body. So, to make this as clear as possible, this is what the reverse drive hitting action should look like in slow motion.
Now you've hopefully got the motion right. The most difficult part is the timing. But when should you actually strike the shuttle?
Well, you should strike it as close to you starting your waving motion as possible. But the later you start this waving motion, the more deceptive your shot will be, as your opponents will still be anticipating your cross-court drive.
Just don't delay this motion too much so that you're hitting the shuttle from below the height of the net. Otherwise, it won't work.
The last stage of step 3 is your foot timing. Unlike a lot of deceptive shots where you want to land your foot at the same time as you'd be doing the first shot, for the reverse drive, you actually still need to land your foot at the same time as you strike the shuttle. Or, as we said earlier, you can even strike the shuttle in the air if you're jumping into the shot. Both of these help you add power into your reverse drive.
Now, before you think about reversing out of this video, we want to share some tactical insight of what to do after this reverse drive, and when you should and maybe shouldn't do it in a match.
So, if you're playing doubles and you hit the reverse drive well, but your opponent gets it back, then it'll probably be a straight, quite loose block. Here, you should keep moving forwards to hopefully kill this next shot. Your partner should then move across just past the tee, allowing you the room to move forwards.
But your partner shouldn't move too far backwards. They need to maintain the pressure and not let your opponents off the hook. As again, if you play it well, it's unlikely that they'll be able to lift it over your heads. This is because your shot will be slower than they're expecting, so it's harder to use the speed of the shuttle. And you've also hopefully put them in a difficult position.
And what if you're playing singles?
Well, your forwards movement should be the same. Again, if you hit this reverse drive well, your opponent's shot is likely going to be loose and straight. So you need to quickly anticipate this and move forwards to take advantage of it.
Now, before you try playing this shot in a match, you need to consider these 3 tactical tips.
Firstly, it's often ideal to have hit a cross-court drive before you try the reverse. This isn't absolutely essential, but it will make your reverse more effective when you do use it. because your opponents will be expecting the hard cross-court drive that you just did.
Second, there are certain situations where you shouldn't try to do this reverse drive. As we said in our forehand drive tutorial, you should only really hit the cross-court drive and now also the reverse drive when you're above the height of the net. So if you're slightly late to the shuttle and you can't strike it above the height of the net, you shouldn't attempt it.
This is unless you're really small, in which case you need to strike it at the net height to make it work. And if you're not able to move forwards at the correct angle into the shuttle, then you also shouldn't attempt it. We have already mentioned these throughout the video, but these are two scenarios where people regularly go wrong.
Our final tactical tip is that it's okay if you don't use this shot in every match. The right time won't always present itself, but it is an amazing shot to have in your armoury for when the opportunity does come.
Yeah, it's such a fun shot to practice and add into your game. Now, we're not entirely sure if you also want a backhand reverse drive tutorial, as it's slightly less common and also a lot more complex. But if you do, then please drop this video a like. And lastly, don't forget to smash the subscribe button if you haven't already, and we'll see you on another video very soon.